ang penalty is imprisonment of not less than 4 years nor more than 6 years and a fine of 4,000 pesos. So ang question ko, meron na bang report dito sa arrest at kinasuhan ba si General Torre? But I'll give you 2 examples, ma'am. Bakit po si General Torre, kung ano-ano sinasabi sa kung ano-anong interview, hindi naman napapagalitan? So ang dating po sa lower rank, bawal partisan kung kalaban. Kung kakampi yung sinabi mo, pwede. Bato, Senator Bongo, Mista, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Well, siyempre po, nalulungkot po ako na para tayong pumunta ng birthday party, walang dumating na bisita. But unlike a party, you can celebrate naman with your closest friends, family. Pero dito po sa hearing, I think we can still be productive. But ayoko naman, Madam Chair, na pagalitan yung present dahil maraming absent. So may I take the opportunity to thank very much Attorney Alexis Medina, Attorney Santiago, Attorney Bernal. Alam namin na pag ganito kabigat yung issue ay may consequences din yung pagsasalita, may consequences yung pag-a-appear. But Madam Chair, I think, more than kind last hearing in terms of not pressing my questions kapag sinabi nilang sub judice. But just to clarify, well settled na yan, whether sa jurisprudence or sa history ng Senate, na mere filing of a case or mere pendency of the case does not stop the hearing, nor is it a reason for them not to discuss. In fact, pagka yung executive department, matetest pa nga yung consistency na kung ang sasabihin nila dito at sasabihin nila dun sa korte ay pareho. Yung sub judice rule kasi, and correct me later on, Attorney Medina, kung mali, it's really more of to protect the integrity of the court and the fairness para hindi dinidiscuss yung case, para hindi sila ma-pressure. Yung sub judice rule is not meant para yung kung may inconsistency sa ibang bodies, sa SEC, quasi-judicial bodies, or dito sa Congress or sa Senate. Kasi kung yun po ang kaso, di lahat ng ginagawa ng mga COM ngayon, ng mga TRICOM, QUADCOM, ang kailangan lang gawin ng witnesses nila ay mag-file ng kaso against themselves, tigil na yung hearing, no? Number 2, there are many points regarding other guests. For example, General Torre, no? He's not covered by executive privilege unless the president talk to him directly. Ang executive privilege, sa pagkaalam ko, kasi kasama po ako doon, ako po nag-chair nung investigation sa ZTE nung na-discuss po itong mga issues na to at na-bring up for the first time in, at least in a recent history, yung executive privilege. Ang purpose ng executive privilege, pareho din ng purpose nung privilege na binibigay, for example, sa journalist, that hindi nila kailangan sabihin kung sino ang kanilang source, or kaya mag-asawa, or yung doktor at pasyente, or abogado at saka kliyente. Ang purpose kasi nun, the client and the lawyer can freely discuss. Ganun din, ang doktor at saka pasyente can freely discuss kasi they will not be compelled to testify, no? Against his client, against doctor. Pero lahat yan meron ding isa pong exception, no? For example, sa doctor, if iaminin sa kanya that a crime is about to happen sa United States, then they are required to say that. So ganun din po dito sa executive privilege. Malinaw sa Supreme Court ruling, you cannot use executive privilege if ang pinag-uusapan may crime ba o wala, or if it's to cover up a crime. At this point, we're not saying there is a crime to cover up, but I will bring up that point right now. So ma'am, of course, under your leadership, and syempre may emotions naman talaga si Senator Bongo last time, kayo po. Ako, try ko lang pigilan. Talagang bantay na bantay ako ng asawa ko na wag uminit ulo last hearing, no? Kausap ko rin ng Senate President na let's check the facts, apply the issues, wag mo nang banat ng banat kasi nga baka hindi natin nakita yung buong video. So having said that, I think lahat naman na himasmasan, lahat naman po tayo ay nakapag-reflect. So I was reflecting on, and ma'am, pwede ba after this just to show a short video ni General Torre? Kasi ito ma'am, Republic Act number 7438, an act defining certain rights of a person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation, as well as the duties of the arresting, detaining, and investigating officers, and providing penalties for the violation thereof. May I also, akin to court na pagkawala po o hindi pinayagan yung ebidensyang i-offer, dito i-proffer. No? So wala sila, pero hindi ibig sabihin hindi ko pwedeng ilagay sa record yung tanong at baka sa media nila sagutin, baka dito later on. Ang linaw po kasi dito, nakalagay po dito.
Okay lang kay Senator Cayetano kasi may chronological presentation.
One line lang.
At saka si Senator Bato gustong pag-usapan din yung arrest.
Sige ma'am. I'll leave just this one line lang para lang hindi mabitin yung train of thought, no. Nakalagay kasi dito, any person arrested or detained under custodial investigation shall be allowed visits by conferences or any member of his immediate family or any medical doctor or priest or religious minister chosen by him or by any member of his immediate family or by his counsel. Okay, hindi ko nahabaan kasi nga ma'am, I'll follow your advice. Ma'am, may penalty po to. Ang penalty nito, any person who obstructs, prevents, or prohibits any lawyer, any member of the immediate family or person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation, or any medical doctor or priest or minister by his counsel from visiting and conferring privately chosen by him or by any member's immediate family with him, or from examining and treating him. Ma'am, by his choice at any time, I'll go back to the title at saka dun sa nakalagay. Nakalagay dito, hindi lang custodial investigation basta arrest or detained. So he was arrested and detained. So even if magdebate tayo na custodial investigation ba yun o hindi, no? So ma'am, ang ano po dito, ang penalty is imprisonment of not less than 4 years nor more than 6 years and a fine of 4,000 pesos. So ang question ko, meron na bang report dito sa arrest at kinasuhan ba si General Torre? Last question, ma'am. Tuwing magpapa-aresto lately, parang ang pinaka-effective si General Torre, di ba? So nung pina-aresto si Pastor Kibuloy, grabe yung mga nangyari at ginawa, di ba? Nung pina-aresto po si President Duterte, yun naman pinag-uusapan natin, nakita naman natin. Nung nag-hearing po ako tungkol sa tulay na sa Isabela na gumiba, hindi po nag-a-attend si Secretary Bunoan. Sinabi ko lang, kailangan ko pa bang i-designate si General Torre para kunin si Secretary? The next time, nag-attend na siya. So ito, tanong ko ma'am, pag nag-issue tayo ng subpoena at hindi siya mag-attend at kinontempt natin, pwede bang ang utusang kong hulihin si General Torre ay si General Torre? Kasi effective, no? Dinadaan ko lang sa biro, but I think of all his interviews and sa nangyari, this is my last point, ma'am. I'll submit to all my other colleagues. This is my point lang, ma'am. Nanunood kasi yung buong PNP. Nanunood yung mga teachers ng constitutional law, mga estudyante. Nanunood ang mga estudyante ng criminology. And di ba sabi nga nila, yung bata, hindi mo pwedeng turuan sa salita. Natututo yung bata sa gawa. So ganun din sa gobyerno natin. Pag sinabi nung mayor, no corruption, pero corrupt siya, ang dating sa mga department head, pwede mag-corrupt. Di ba? Pag sinabi ng COMELEC officer sa isang probinsya, no cheating, pero pinayagan niya yung cheating or vote buying, ang papakinggan ng tao, hindi yung salita, yung gawa eh. So kung mali yung pagka-aresto, nangangamba ako na especially sa lugar na walang internet, walang cellphone, baka ito yung masunod eh. Humihingi sila ng counsel nila o doktor, tapos hindi pagbibigyan, no? And then the last point doon, ma'am, is that bakit kapag ka lower rank, meron pong isang vlogger, di ba, na PNP, na nagsorry na kaya parang okay, pero hinuli, tapos kakasuhan. I understand that at magandang rule yun na pagka ikaw ay sundalo o pulis ay hindi ka basta't pwedeng, hindi ka pwedeng partisan, di ba? Pangalawa, kailangan bantayan mo sinasabi mo. But I'll give you 2 examples, ma'am. Bakit po si General Torre, kung ano-ano sinasabi sa kung ano-anong interview, hindi naman napapagalitan? So ang dating po sa lower rank, bawal partisan kung kalaban. Kung kakampi yung sinabi mo, pwede. I'll go to a non-partisan issue. And I respect this person very much. I think he's one of the best chief of staff, personal friend, etc. Kaya lang, as a former secretary of the DFA, I have to mention this, no? When the AFP chief of staff said, prepare kasi madadamay tayo kapag ka-invade yung Taiwan, tayo po ay may one China policy. Ano po ang magiging reaction natin nung sa Marawi siege kung sinabi ng China, prepare kasi pag sinugod nila yung Marawi o kapag nilabanan nila yung secession sa Mindanao, mai-involve tayo. Magre-react din yung foreign affairs natin, hindi ba? Kasi nga may one China policy tayo. Don't get me wrong, ha? Ayaw natin ng gulo sa Taiwan. Nakikisimpet tayo sa democracy ng Taiwan. We want them to coexist with mainland China. But having said that, we have to be sensitive. So the right person to speak is either the DFA or the presidential spokesperson, hindi po sundalo or police, no? So I'll stop there, ma'am. Pero sana nga consistent tayo para hindi nalilito yung mga kawani ng gobyerno kung ano talaga ang tama at ano yung mali. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat, Senator Cayetano. Maliwanag na maliwanag ang inyong pag-unawa at pagbabalangkas nung sub-judice pati yung executive privilege kasi naging cabinet member nga kayo at talagang may limitasyon yon. Mag-umpisa tayo kung hahayaan ninyo ng chronological at nais ko lang ipakita na sa kaguluhan nung nakaraang taon, sa Mayo pa lamang nagkaroon na ng briefer tungkol sa aresto ni Presidente Duterte. Hindi tama yung sinasabi na walang kinalaman ng Pilipinas dito. Ilang beses tinatanggi ng ating mga opisyal, sana narito sila para ipaliwanag. Subalit nag-press release po ang liwaliwanag nung DOJ Assistant Secretary Miko Clavano, May 8 ang kanyang mga press release at sa kalagitnaan ng kaguluhan tungkol sa PI, yung ating People's Initiative sa kaguluhan ng Davao at Maisog rallies ay biglang nagkaroon ng bagong briefer na ginagawa ng DOJ. Ito ay unang-una for the potential arrest of President Duterte, ikalawa ang pagbabalik ng Pilipinas sa ICC. Maliwanag na last year pa, May of 2024, nag-umpisa na ito. At sabi rito, aware naman tayo na yung policy ay hindi papasukin ng ICC. Pero posible naman mag-iba. So, yun ang nakakaabala dito. Mayo pa lang, pinaplano na yata ito. At kahit sinasabi ng ating kagalang-galang Secretary of Justice, sana narito siya, sabi niya, labas-masok ang dayuhan sa Pilipinas. Libo-libo sila, daan-libo pa ang pumapasok na waring di natin nalalaman. Ngunit, kilala ng ating Bureau of Immigration ang ilang ICC mga tauhan na klaro na pumasok dito. Unang-una, maliwanag, si Maya Destura Bracken. Dumating noong October 4, 2024. Siya ay galing US at interpreter siya noong ICC. Maliwanag po yan. At maliwanag din na dumating siya sa Pilipinas. Ikalawa, andito din yung protection expert para ipagtanggol ang mga testigo. Ang pangalan, William Rosato, dumating sa Pilipinas October 15, 2024. Mahabang pagpaplano to. Nakita din natin na may dumating din na isa pang protection expert at iba pang mga dumating na si Amir John Kasam. Dumating October 20. At yung investigador dumating din sa October 24, siya yung huli. Ang huling ICC na nasa record ko, October 24, Glenn Roderick Thomas Cala. Siya naman yung investigador at hindi ko alam kung kumpleto na ito dahil meron pang binabanggit na Robin Croft na abogado naman nila at may binabanggit din sa kanilang mga usapin na bagong team ng tatlo parating daw ng 19 October. Hindi ko na nakuha yung pangalan pero maliwanag na merong mga dumating na ICC at nagpakilala bilang tauhan talaga ng ICC na may kanya-kanyang espesyalidad. May protection expert, may investigador, may interpreter, may abogado. Klaro po yun at itinira, hindi natin sa sigurado ang binabanggit at sinulat nila sa kanilang immigration papers, Midas Hotel, Raffles Hotel, Diamond Hotel. Humingi rin sila ng protection detail and transport sa Pilipinas. So maliwanag na ang Pilipinas ay tumulong at talagang nagpakita ng partisipasyon. Matagal na ito, Mayo pa, tapos October pa, kaya nagtataka po tayo kung bakit tinatanggi ng ating mga opisyal na may ganito. I also received information na yung ICC personnel pala may agenda, may mga impormasyon galing sa administrasyon na hinihingi. Ang mga hinihingi nila sa agenda nila, unang-una bank account records June 2016 to 2019 ng isang Peter Parungo. Meron din silang mga hinihingi ng mga blotter, mga seized evidence, radio transmissions sa Police Station 6 sa Batasan Hills, QC. Alalahanin natin na meron tayong bank privacy. Kaya nakakapagtaka bakit yung bank account records na kami mismo dito sa Senado hindi makuha-kuha naibigay sa ICC. Pati na rin yung mga tactical operations ng pulis, pati na rin yung records ng East Avenue Medical Center sa lahat ng dead on arrival between July 2016 to 31, 2017, lahat ng detalye ng postmortem autopsy at mga inspeksyon. Sana ipapatanong ko to sa ating kapulisan. Sabi nga ni Senator Cayetano, hindi naman yan sakop ng executive privilege pagkat hindi naman cabinet rank. Pero wala sila rito. Bakit nila ipagkakaila ito samantalang fully recorded naman ito? Ang liwaliwanag naman ito. Huwag na tayo magbolahan. Tapos, itong agenda na sinasabing hiningi, siya rin ang lumitaw sa application for warrant ng ICC prosecutor. Sa madaling sabi, ang kaso sa ICC base sa ebidensyang binigay ng pamahalaan ng Pilipinas. I am asking these questions, I cannot help but wonder, while the administration has been claiming it did not help the ICC, why the prosecutor in his application for the warrant of arrest for PRRD cited the following documents as part of the evidence. Ito na nga, yung paulit-ulit nilang pinagmamalaki, dokumento ng PNP at ibang department, ang drug watch list maintained by the law enforcement, financial and bank records, forensic evidence na nanggaling sa PNP. Mahirap kunin itong mga katibayan na ito. Kahit mataas na opisyal, katulad ng senador, naghahagilap kami ng ganito, wala kami makuha. Paano nakuha ng ICC prosecutor kung sa mga salita at deklarasyon ng ating administrasyon ang sinabi, it will not lift a finger to help the ICC. Bakit? Verbatim. Lahat ng hiningi nila, nakarecord sa agenda, yan din ang lumitaw na katibayan para sa warrant of arrest. Even if you were to assume that there were members of the PNP who helped the ICC prosecutor in an unofficial capacity, why were these not detected by our intelligence officers. I find it very hard to believe. Malaki po ang budget sa intelligence. Tignan po natin. Ang NSC, sana nandito si Secretary Anyo. Limpak-limpak na salapi ang ginagastos ng Pilipinas sa OP, NSC, DND, AFP. Ang Philippine Army may hiwalay, Air Force may hiwalay, Navy General Headquarters. Lahat ito hindi nila nalaman. Parang naman mahirap intindihin. Totoo ba na right in front of their faces, hindi naman nila nakita lahat ito? Mahirap talaga paniwalaan. At eto pa, meron na din tayong case build-up na narinig. At andito tayo, yung case build-up ng DOJ. Kanina, nag-umpisa tayo doon sa briefer. Mayo pa lang yon. Pagkatapos ng briefer, nagkaroon ng maliwanag November 4, Department Order ng DOJ na nagtatatag ng task force to investigate, create a case build-up, and file the appropriate criminal charges. So, klaro na yun. And sana, andito yung DOJ para sabihin kung yung task force nga ba, in-interview sina Senator Laila De Lima noon, Attorney Colmenares, and Commissioner Palpalatok. Yan lang ang gusto natin malaman. As a matter of fact, may nakita tayong bago. March 6 nitong taon na to, may memo ng accomplishment report nitong case build-up na to na humihingi ng additional 90 days. Kasi ang sabi nila hindi pa daw sapat, hindi pa daw klaro, hindi maliwanag. Humihingi sila nung umpisa ng nakaraang buwan, 90 days pa sana. So, sana yung DOJ i-confirm nila. There already was a legal team. In fact, there is an allegation na pati private legal team magbabayad sila para mag-draft ng complaint for murder against those responsible for the death of 3 nationals in the Davao prison. Kung may case build-up, may draft of the complaint, why did we still have to cooperate with ICC and Interpol? I wanted to verify kung totoo nga na yung DOJ pinagtatanggol yung ICC jurisdiction in the cases before the Supreme Court. It appears that the DOJ is arguing there is no investigation or prosecution in the relevant EJK cases. But in fact, sila mismo may task force, meron ng report, may hinihingi na ng mga private lawyer, meron na ring Quadcom sa Kongreso, merong Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Ano ba naman ito? Mismo si Solicitor General talagang umatras na sa pagtatanggol ng posisyon na yan kasi ang sabi nga niya talaga namang meron ng case build-up mismo sa ilalim natin sa building na ito sa DOJ. Kaya hindi po katanggap-tanggap. At any point, kung ang ating mga kasamahan may dadagdag, pakisabi na lang po. Pero, eto pa, narinig natin na mayroong Oplan pursuit. Pakita na lang na inaamin at pinagmamalaki ni General Torre. Sabi niya, hindi ito spur of the moment. Huwag kayong maniwalang spur of the moment dahil matagal ko nang pinaplano ang Operation Pursuit. Ayan. Sige. Pwede natin ipakita. Ayan. Laksan lang po yung volume. Laksan lang natin yung volume, please. Dapat sige. Hindi nag-stop. Attorney Dana, yung ating technical please, napakahina naman ng volume natin.
paano yung, kasi kailangan niyo po talaga siyang ilipad sa daig no matter what on that day. So paano po ibinaba sa inyo ni PNP Chief Marbil na, how did he say that to you? Na no matter what, we need to fly the former president to the Hague and we need to implement the ICC arrest warrant?
Arrest him and bring him to the Hague. Yun lang. Simple as that. Arrest him and bring him to the Hague. Sagot ko lang, sir, bigyan mo ko aeroplano. O di ayos.
And then the rest, you planned everything.
Pero matagal na yan eh. Ang plano na yan, matagal na yan. Hindi yan spur of the moment eh. Matagal na yan. And nagkataon lang na talagang yun, the opportunity arose.
Ayan, maliwanag, may Operation Pursuit, sabi nga ni General Torre, matagal na yan. Hindi yan spur of the moment. Inutos ni General Marbil, ang Chief PNP, and the operation was planned as early as January 2025. So hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na madalian at waring nakita ko bit-bit ni General Torre nung pumunta siya dito sa first hearing dahil pinagmamalaki nga niya na napakakapal nung plano niya. Ang Oplan Pursuit 80 pages. At maliwanag na ang PNO had prepared a secret plan, Oplan Pursuit, to detain PRRD, including scenarios of arresting him either in Manila or Davao. It also contained maps of properties of the former president, his partner, his allies, with arrows labeling the nearby streets where the PNP could access the property. Sana hihingi ako ng kopya nitong 80-page plan called Operation Pursuit. At gusto ko rin sana malaman, katulad ng sambayanan, kung kailan nag-umpisa to. Dahil obviously, itong Operation Pursuit was concocted weeks, if not months before March 11. Panay ang sabi nila, nagulantang daw sila nung dumating nung March 11 ng umaga. Pero mukhang hindi naman yata totoo to. Hindi naman yung Interpol o yung diffusion notice na dumating ng March 11 ng 3 a.m. ang nag-umpisa nitong lahat. Kundi, nung nakaraang taon pa, Mayo pa lang, klarong-klaro na.
Madam Chair, may I move that this committee issue a subpoena duces taken to the PNP to produce that document?
Madam Chair, before you rule on that, did the cabinet secretaries also submit already the whole video? Kasi they said last time na they will submit their version of the whole video. Kasi I agree with Senator Bato that any piece of evidence that is not confidential or does not violate national security should be handed over so that we can be fair to them, diba? We don't want to come out with reports then sasabihin nila ay hindi yan yung nasa buong video, ay hindi yan yung nasa plano, diba? So maybe we can request them and then if they don't give it then we subpoena it. But I submit to you, Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm in full agreement with both our senators, and certainly the comment that there was no plan until they received the Interpol warrant or diffusion order is highly doubtful. Pati yung New York Times, alam yung balita tungkol sa plano. Bakit tayo walang maibigay na plano sa ating komite? Pagkatapos yung complete video na hinahanap ni Senator Cayetana, tama po kayo. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa nabigay.
Pero baka kasi kasama sa 80-page plan yung paghuli kay Senator Bato. So hindi talaga pwedeng ibigay muna sa atin.
Senator Bato, anong comment nyo dan?
I'm waiting.
Magkapit bahay tayo O sige, ang liwaliwanag na meron talagang extensive and exhaustive plan, 80 pages, then the administration was already anticipating the application for a warrant of arrest and the issuance thereof. It's also apparent there was some kind of communication and coordination with the ICC. It's well known that some officials of the DOJ, as well as high-placed officials from other departments and from other branches of government, already visited The Hague and perhaps even met the president of the ICC in Japan. So we are very deeply concerned about this contradiction in the claims. Kasi ang liwaliwanag na may communication and coordination na, tapos may sinasabi pang mga official channel through DOJ sa The Hague, backdoor channel. Bakit tinatago pa ng gobyerno? Tapos na to eh. Tapos na ito, hindi na siya national security issue. How could the administration have known for weeks, if not months, in advance that the ICC will issue a warrant of arrest if, as claimed by the Secretary of Justice, the country was not communicating with the ICC? Parang hindi ka panipaniwala na gulat naman tayong lahat. So
Madam
sana yan klinaro nila. Yes, Senator Cayetano.
On your point that feel free to interject, just on the point of ongoing investigations, o may kaso ba? I was really deeply disturbed and shocked when Secretary Boying Remulla told us that lahat nung this is my words, so I will refer to the record naman sa eksakto niyang sinabi at yung terminology, but sabi niya, Senator Bato, nung huling hearing na parang lahat, and you might want to refute that if you have information, but sabi kasi niya lahat daw nung wrongful death po yung ginamit niya ay wala daw record, walang blatter, wala daw talaga. Tapos halimbawa may gunshot wound, tapos nakalagay cardiac arrest, di ba? I don't know if that is cardiac arrest because of I don't know, but ang point ko lang, na surprise at na-shock ako because when I was in the cabinet, before kami mag-explain abroad, hindi binubunot sa hangin yon. Nagmi-meeting yan, whether with the DILG or whether with the Chief PNP. I have had several meetings with Senator Bato when he was Chief PNP and I was still a senator. Kasi hindi naman ako magsasalita dito na hindi ko muna tinanong sa kanya. So, aside from yung mga ni-reveal mo na very telling details, I think we owe it to the public. Yung sinabi po ng, let me frame it this way, no? Kung pro-Duterte ka, you want accountability. Yes, but we want accountability here in the Philippines at yung tamang process. Kasi two wrongs does not make a right. If you are anti-Duterte, you also want accountability. But you also want to do it right. Because two wrongs doesn't make it correct. Meaning, kung ma-dismiss yan sa ICC o kaya mag-change ng administration, balik na naman. So, whether you're pro or anti-Duterte, we want the rule of law, gusto natin tama. Last point lang, Madam Chair. Yung chilling effect, di ba? So kapag yung pinag-uusapan whether yung warrant arrest sa mga cyber libel or, tignan nyo po ilang taon na ba? 2016, 2025. 9 years ko nang kadibate si Senator De Lima, just like some others of us, former Senator De Lima, 9 years, di ba? 9 years na. Usually, yung usual, 30,000 yan, 16,000. So nagsasagutan kami sa issue. First time na nagdebate kami 2-3 weeks ago, ang una niyang sabi, dapat yan si Cayetano kasama sa ICC. Di ba? And then after that, naglabas sila ng redacted. And then mayroon ding iba, like former Senator Tria. Marami pang susunod dyan. So may chilling epekto. Sa akin okay lang kasi sanay akong takutin di ba? Sanay naman na ganun. But ang point ko lang, Madam Chair, that's why we have to get to the bottom of this. For example, in the case of Senator Bato, kailangan alam natin pagka may lumabas, can he have his counsel of his own choice? Can he be examined by a doctor? Pwede ba siyang mag-resist kasi wala naman Philippine order? Pwede ba siyang isakay bigla sa airplano? Mabigat yan, baka ma-overloading yung airplano. No? So, dinadaan ko lang po sa biro, pero hindi biro yung ito. Let me stop with one example, Mama. Kasi maraming progressive groups. Siyempre, dahil nga sa history kay President Duterte, I'll assume good faith sa progressive groups. Assuming na human rights activists sila, assuming na may mga napatay na extrajudicial killing, naisip ba nung progressive groups na yan na pag biglang may nakitang hukay wherever in the Philippines, kahit sabi mo yung hukay na yan ay 20, 30, 40 years na, at may 50 nakalibing doon, or 43, katulad na rin lang nung kay President Duterte, Tapos ang sabihin ng kusino man, let's say retired military or retired intelligence officer, sir, mass grave ng komunista yan. Pinatay yan during 2012. Nung pinatay yan 2012, may ICC pa. Payag ba tayo na yung mga progressive group, pati yung mga congressmen na progressive group, ay bigla na lang kukunin, isasakay sa airplano, dadalhin sa Hague, na hindi sila makakapunta sa Philippine courts. So whatever kasi we decide here and whatever as a nation we decide, Madam Chair, is applicable to all of us. Di ba yung sinabi ni President Erap na weather lang yan? Kaya kailangan may batas. Para kahit anong weather, klaro yung karapatan mo. So let me stop here, but thank you for that intervention, Madam.
Maraming salamat. At meron ibang katanungan yung ating mga kababayan. At ito naman yung tungkol sa executive order ng US. Noong March 28, ang sinabi ng gobyerno, ICC has no jurisdiction. Etong taon na ito, this is just the latest in a series of statements na ang ICC walang jurisdiction dito sa ating bansa. Gusto ko sanang tanungin ulit sa ating executive kung ang dating Pangulong Duterte ay nasa ilalim ng protected person under the executive order issued by the US President Trump, which imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court. Kasi si Presidente Trump, hindi niya gusto yung ICC, di ba? Hindi nga nakilahok ang Amerika dyan. Under Section 8D2 of the EO, any foreign person who's a citizen or ally of the US that has not consented to ICC jurisdiction, o parang Pilipinas, over that person or state party is a protected person sa ilalim nung kay Presidente Trump. So ang Pilipinas hindi na state party at yung executive sinasabi naman na hindi talaga ICC ang may jurisdiction sa atin. Kaya gusto ko sana tanungin, si Presidente Duterte ba ay isa sa protected person sa ilalim ng executive order ni Presidente Trump? Non-NATO ally na former or current official. So gusto ko malaman kung si PRRD nga ay protected person sa ilalim ng executive order, sino ang mako-cover sa asset freeze under Section 1 ng executive order ni Presidente Trump? Pwede bang parusahan ang mga sumapi sa pag-aresto katulad ni General Torre? Anong mangyayari kina Garma at kina Leonardo? Kasi ang pagkaalam natin, yung iba sa kanila at yung pamilya nila ay nasa Amerika na. Sakop ba sila nung executive order ni Presidente Trump? So yan ang mga katanungan natin kasi lumalawak na lumalawak itong pagsisiyasat natin. Umabot na sa US kung saan alam natin nagtatago sila. Kaya nag-aalala ako ano ba nangyari rito. So paano yun? Gusto ko sana ipaliwanag ng ating justice pero wala sila. Kaya justice lang po tayo. Pero importante po to. Ngayon, yung administrative arrest, may DOJ local opinion, legal opinion raw, na lumabas noong November 21, 2024. Nakita po namin ito Nasa website ngayon, nag-disappear na. Hindi na siya nandun. At ang liwanag doon sa legal opinion na mismo yung DOJ USEC na sumulat nito, ang balita ko si Yusek Chan, the DOJ does not consider an Interpol Red Notice an arrest warrant. Ang liwanag naman doon. At sinabi rin na the Philippines cannot deport your own citizen. Ang liwanag ng pagkasabi. The ICC, again, no jurisdiction. Then the ICC warrant could not have been the basis for the arrest. Kung yung red notice o diffusion is not a warrant of arrest, ang tanong ko, ano ang legal basis ng aresto? Ngayon, ang sabi ng gobyerno, yung turnover to the ICC was a surrender. Surrender na po to under Article 17 of RA 9851 and the Rome Statute, walang pakialam sa Rome Statute kasi hindi na nga tayong member. I need to point out that before they can actually surrender PRRD, they have to arrest him to have him in custody. If there was no warrant issued by the court for PRRD's arrest, does that mean that it was an administrative arrest? Was the administrative arrest valid? Was the DOJ or whoever ordered the arrest empowered under 9851 to effect an administrative arrest? Nakakatuwa kasi kanina, nabasa ko lang sa dyaryo, tamang-tama, na yung spokesman ng ICC, Dr. Fadi L. Abdallah, sinabi that the surrender of former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte of the ICC to the ICC was a decision entirely made by the Philippine government. And if there is any question about whether it was lawful or not, it will have to be submitted to the judges. So, mismo yung ICC sinabi na ang Pilipinas ang nag-surrender sa dating Pangulo. Siguro si Attorney Medina na naman magpapasaklolo tayo. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng administrative arrest at tama ba na sinuko ng Pilipinas si PRRD sa ICC?
Magandang umaga po, Madam Chair. Thank you for the invitation. Good morning po, Senator Bato de la Rosa. Good morning po, Senator Bongo. Going back to the question, administrative arrests. Actually, the Supreme Court has recently clarified that administrative warrants for the arrest of non-Filipinos are actually valid. But these administrative arrests apply only to non-Filipinos in deportation proceedings, at least from the case decided by the Supreme Court, it involved a foreigner. Now, we must also take note that in that recent case, that's a landmark case, because in this decision, the Supreme Court introduced an innovation. Historically, administrative arrests and deportation process are purely administrative, no court intervention. But this time, the Chief Justice who wrote the decision, and upon the suggestion of Supreme Court Justice Marvick Leonen, they introduced a new rule. Under this new rule, even if a person, a non-foreigner, is arrested on the basis of an administrative warrant, they must still inform the regional trial court and wait for the regional trial court to issue a judicial commitment order. Therefore, there's now a duty on the part of police officers or immigration officers, even when arresting a foreigner, to bring this person to the jurisdiction of the courts. So this represents a new trend. If a foreigner should be brought to a Philippine court before he is removed from the country, with more reason that a Filipino citizen should be subjected to some judicial proceedings before surrendered to a foreign government. And as I have explained earlier, from the constitutional level, from the statutory framework, even under international law, surrender of a Filipino citizen without court proceedings may be illegal. That's not just constitutional, that's also statutory, even under international law. In fact, the Interpol Constitution itself requires some due process, the application of Philippine laws, and number two, the application of the rights guaranteed by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which includes due process. Thank you po.
Attorney Medina, so ano ang nakikita ninyo kung inaamin ng ICC na ang surrender ni dating Presidente Duterte ay isang desisyon na ginawa ng Pilipino na pamahalaan? Anong epekto nun? Ang ibig ba sabihin ay linabag yung kanyang karapatan? Kasi tulad nga ng sinabi nyo doon sa kaso ni Yuenle noong 2023, bagong-bago pa lamang, talagang kinakailangan dalhin pa sa RTC yan, meron pang proseso. 7 yata yung requirement. Kung naalala ko, ang dami-daming sinasabi doon na talagang pinagtatanggol ang karapatan mismo ng dayuhan. Eto, Pilipino pa. Ngayon, mismo yung spokesman ng ICC sabi, desisyon niya ng pamahalaang Pilipino. Hindi kami yan. So anong epekto po noon doon sa nangyari kay Presidente Duterte?
Madam Chair, just out of respect for the court proceedings, so as not to be seen as influencing the court proceedings, I will not make my statements in specific reference to the President. If a future issue, a similar issue comes up, extrajudicial surrender of a Filipino citizen to a foreign state or an international tribunal would be in contravention of Constitution on several aspects, of the revised penal code on several aspects, and international law, not just the Rome Statute, the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, the United Nations, the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, and even the Interpol Constitution, if the surrender is upon the request of the Interpol. All this, the entire legal framework when it comes to deprivation of liberty requires court intervention, requires court-level due process.
And by court po, you mean local court?
Yes po,
Filipino
local
court in this
domestic due process. The entire idea of due process is really can be simplified as follows. The police has no final authority to decide on whether a person should be deprived of liberty. That authority to deprive a person, to declare that a person will be, or to decide that a person will be deprived of liberty, that is not the authority of the police. That authority is lodged only in the courts of law. The police cannot at the same time be the judge. That's essentially due process and separation of powers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's loud and clear. That the police cannot be the judge in determining the deprivation of liberty of any person. So maliwanag po yun. At kinakailangan na maliwanagan sana kung totoo na inaresto si dating presidente sa ilalim ng RA 9851, kung talaga bang administrative arresto, kung nandito sana sila, napaliwanag nila sa atin at nagkatotoo at nagkaliwanagan tayo.